Ladies and gentlemen, we are live tonight on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 for another race on the custom schedule season for the Nextel Cup Series, as it is race number 18 of 36 at Speedway Boulevard for the running of the Speedway Boulevard 400. Just outside the Daytona International Speedway, under the lights on the streets for another street course race this season, our second of the year. So first one, we had a Daytona street course, first time we had a street course race in New York City. Now we have a street course race here in Daytona Beach. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's full race live stream with the realistic commentary as usual on the channel. Of course, this one NASCAR video game edition once again. And we will be halfway through the season as soon as the checkered flag flies in tonight's race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes in with his first points lead of the season. He has an 18-point lead over our driver Greg Biffle coming into this one. Biffle's led in the point standings every single race until the most recent race. He has been on a little bit of a downward spiral, so to speak, as far as the Cup Series season goes. Let's see if he can snap out of it today. He only has 2 finishes inside the top 10 in the last 5 races. So he definitely needs to pick up the pace here just a little bit. And it's time to try and do it again on another road course. Back-to-back road course races on the season once again, and this is also back-to-back fantasy road courses. Let's get this one underway. 133 laps set for action, 3-mile road course. This is going to be kind of a longer race tonight. Greg Biffle will be starting from the pole. The green flag is in the air, and we are underway at the Daytona Beach street course. Great launch into the first turn for Greg Biffle, and he's easily able to get down to the inside into turn 1, clearing the 105. Dale Earnhardt Jr. qualified third on the inside of row 2, right in line behind Greg Biffle. And Jr.'s all clear for second as Jimmy Johnson looking to move up into third. This is the most dangerous area of the racetrack here, is getting onto the dirt portion of the racetrack. Yes, there is dirt racing here tonight on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. A little short shoot in between turn 3 and 4. From asphalt to dirt and then back to the asphalt for the rest of the racetrack. Jimmy Johnson underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking to make a pass as well. For Express, Jared Khalif, Michael Turner, welcome into the chat. First one's down there. Oh, contact already behind. Not sure how many cautions we're going to be seeing in tonight's race. Greg Biffle trying to pull away. Very difficult area through the racetrack as well over the rumble strips. Greg Biffle struggling while he leads. But he should be able to lead lap 1 as they work their way into the final corner for the first time. Jimmy Johnson, after not even sure where Johnson started, but he's up to second place right now. Trying to run down Greg Biffle, who leads lap 1 from the pole. 5 bonus points for the Biff. His luck has been hit or miss on the road course races. He did get a top 10 at the Texas road course, finishing in 6th. But it was still enough to lose the points lead to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who went on to get his first win of the season. Jr. also led the most laps in that race. Not sure what the fuel or tire window is going to be. Of course, it's the first time I've raced here on this track since I was a kid, so I don't know exactly how far the fuel window is, especially in a full race. Just have to wait it out. Unaware what the pit strategy is going to be like, not only for Greg Biffle, but for the rest of the field as well. I would imagine the tires are going to wear out quite a bit on this road course compared to a lot of other road courses. There's a few turns where there are rumble strips. Excuse me, that is really going to wear those tires out in those finishing corners. And then even the transition from the asphalt to the dirt back to the asphalt is probably going to spin the tires quite a bit as well. So I would imagine there is going to be a lot of tire fall off today. Biffle already grazes the wall for the first time. And much like others, oh geez, and there's another hit into the wall as he just slid as soon as he hit the dirt that time. But it was more with the front wheels and there was no bite whatsoever. So he's gotten into the wall twice on this lap now. But just like on other street course races and other motorsports, street course racing, very, very tight. There's very little passing areas on the racetrack, and the same goes for this racetrack here today. Unlike the New York City road course, this is a lot more narrow. It does widen up in the back half portion of the racetrack. The front half is very narrow. It widens out in the rumble strips, but it's so tight of corners that everybody's going to be still fighting for the bottom anyway. The rumble strips kind of work their way like an S's set of turns. Biffle already pulling away, though, from Jimmy Johnson. Johnson was able to hold on close for about a lap and a half, and then Biffle has pulled away just a little bit. After 3 laps now, it's about a 1.3 second lead. Yep, online lobbies will be tonight after this race on NASCAR 21 Ignition. Obviously, separate stream. So, a little doubleheader tonight. I had to move that up. WrestleMania's tomorrow night, and I don't plan on streaming during it. I was like, oh yeah, it is 2 nights this year. I should probably reschedule. So, my bad for originally having it at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So we'll have an online lobby tonight. And I'll still stream tomorrow. It'll be a NASCAR Busch Series race at Darlington. It'll be right as soon as I can get home from work. So if I had to guess, about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, roughly tomorrow for the stream. And it should be over before 7 o'clock for your Saturday evening. Well, with this being a very long road course, Greg Biffle can definitely relax with the clean air. It's his first pole award of the season on a road course, and we've had a lot of road courses this season. The only other street course race, though, that we have had was at the New York City street course, and Greg Biffle did lead the most laps in that race and finish 3rd. So he had a good run, one of the few good runs he's had on road courses this season. Oh, hit the inside wall that time, and that ricocheted him into the outside wall. So dark going through that tunnel area of the racetrack, which leads into the dirt area of the racetrack. Definitely the most difficult part of the track. Likely not going to be seeing traffic going side by side through the tunnel very often today. That's why restarts are going to be so chaotic. Even that initial start, everybody was luckily able to get through. Did my stage 1 thing for Coda? What stage 1 thing? What do I have to do? Oof. That's already the 3rd time Greg Biffle has gotten into the wall in the first 6 laps. That same area of the racetrack. That's concerning considering how early in this race he is and slowly damaging the car. Could risk a DNF getting through there. He's trying to back the corner up, and sometimes he's able to get it to stick, and sometimes as soon as he hits the dirt, the car just wants to slide into that outside wall on the left-hand side. It'd be the outside in turn 3. challenge you to a leaderboard. Did it for Coda. Oh, I gotcha. I thought you were talking about during the actual live stream itself. Like the live stream for the live realistic... When I'm doing the live commentary for the actual races. That's what I thought you meant. That's going to be difficult because it's pretty much impossible unless we have, you know, the kind of money that Fox does in their production to be able to have the technology to run a leaderboard that's live with the actual traffic itself. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. White Hanson, welcome in as well. Jeez. And that time Biffle wiggled even before he hit the dirt. He got a little loose even on the asphalt portion of the racetrack, and then when he hit the dirt, it still took off up the racetrack. I'll find a way to get through there one of these times. I mean, he has a couple times, it's just inconsistent. 8 laps, he's already gone through turn 3, and he's gotten into the wall all but 3 times. So 5 of the 8 laps he's gotten into the wall already. Wade Solinsky, welcome to the stream. Wish they could do it in real life, but it'd be too dark. Oh, you're talking about the street course race? Yeah, they have very little lights around this racetrack. Pretty much the only lights they have are the actual street lights themselves. But in this area, it's pretty dark. Some of it is the graphics that make it a little bit darker. I'm sure they could bring in some temporary lighting in certain areas of the track where it needs to be a little bit more light. Seth Thomas, welcome. Biffle was so loose all the way through there. So challenging. Just think how big his lead would be if he could just get through turn 3 well. It's a 2-second lead as it is right now over Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, I don't usually like streaming that late at night. Especially with the fact I have to work tomorrow, so I don't know how late we'll be, but it's going to be the best opportunity to be able to get it in this week. And I didn't want to postpone it another week. I mean, I didn't really postpone it to begin with, we just never did it before. But I really don't want to postpone it. I know you guys have been asking for it for a while. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. Fuel mile race at Richmond and NASCAR 15. Biffle's already out of shape. That's not gonna... Well, I didn't think it was gonna end well in turn 3. So despite not really getting through the tunnel area of the racetrack in a stable fashion, he kept it off the wall in turn 3. You see how much he's pulled away from Johnson already on this lap. I just don't know if Biffle's going to be able to get through there consistently. In a 133 lap race, you would probably think over time he's going to be able to get through it, but even in practice I struggled and I hit the wall almost every single time. So that was with practice, with qualifying. I think qualified actually had a clean lap. That's why I qualified on the pole. I only ran one lap of qualifying because I had the pole on the first lap. No guarantees my second lap would have been quicker. I could definitely see myself getting into the wall if I had to run two laps as hard as I could in turn 3. Got Josh Rumsey in the chat as well. Already 11 likes on the stream. Thank you everybody for hitting that like button. See if we can get to 30 likes tonight. We got to 30 last night on NASCAR 21 Ignition Coke 600. And Greg Biffle trying to retake the points lead away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. Qualified on the pole. He's led every lap so far through the first 10. And this is a very long race. 133 laps on road course. Trying to get the first win with Subway as the primary sponsor. A lot of clean air. That was Greg Biffle's fastest lap that last time, a 122.323. It's about what he ran in qualifying. It's 3 laps in a row. He hasn't gotten into the wall in turns 3 or 4. It took about 9 laps to try to get through there consistently. He was going to have to at some point, or he was going to damage that car pretty bad if he kept getting into the wall. Definitely going to have to repair at least a little bit of damage during that first pit stop. Really during every pit stop today, considering that he's going to have quite a bit of damage on the left side of that race car. Very fortunate he had a good qualifying effort. I couldn't imagine starting mid-pack at this racetrack. Greg Biffle's not had great qualifying performances, even on the couple road course races he won at the beginning of the year. He did not qualify very well for those races. This one here today, he did. Edwin Justice, welcome to the stream. New York Metro Speedway is in NASCAR 05. We raced there earlier on the season. I believe it was race number 10. We've ran a lot of the fantasy road courses. Still 4 road course races left on the schedule. 3 more fantasy tracks. And then we also have Watkins Glen towards the end of the season that we still have to get to on the Cup Series side. If we'll finish 29. Sounds good for your points circumstance there, Dark Crypto. Yeah, this was one of my favorite road courses. For whatever reason, it was always fun to drive. The AI definitely doesn't get through the rumble strip area of the racetrack as quick. And that's really where Greg Biffle's able to pull away. It's pretty even most of the way around the track until you get to these final 5 corners across the rumble strips. Yeah, it was a pretty good race. We had a late caution that kind of spiced up the strategy in it. And fortunately, kind of cost us a chance to win. But still made for a fun battle at the end. That was not good getting into the tunnel for Biffle. And that'll lead him into the wall off the exit. into turn 3. I want to see Cody Ware in a wrestling match. Even if he's fighting The Rock would squash anybody. Any big enough name would be squashing Cody Ware. And Michael says this race is going to be over 3 hours. I would probably assume that that might be the case. Hopefully we don't run too long tonight. May have to adjust the online lobby accordingly depending on what time this does get done tonight. I'll probably let you guys vote down in the chat exactly when we do it. I'll go based off of your guys' time, of the options I give available to you guys. Cody Ware versus Homos. I just think of when Kane gave a tombstone to Pete Rose on multiple occasions. And I just imagine that that would happen to Cody Ware. I just imagine Kane tombstoning Cody Ware. Saw some smoke somewhere on the racetrack and it dissipated off in the distance as if there was maybe an accident or a near accident. Could have brought out the first caution. There's definitely a lot of skid marks in that final corner. We make our way off the final turn this time by. You'll see there's skid marks on the inside, right where the actual racing line is. And they kind of go outwards towards the pit road entrance. As if somebody almost got knocked onto pit road. Caution. Lap 16. It didn't take much longer after we saw that smoke. We get our first caution of the day today. And it will be... Oh, man. Hard hit. Brian Vickers just got piled into by the 143 who was coming in hot into that final corner. Oh, and that's because one car hit the wall. So Vickers got into the inside wall. That's what I believe might have caused the yellow beforehand, or maybe the smoke before that. Greg Biffle's going to keep his track position and stay out of the racetrack. It doesn't sound like anybody else pit behind him. And a hard crash between the 143 and then the 25 of Brian Vickers after Vickers hits the inside wall, gets ran into hard from behind. Greg Biffle's 4+ second lead is gone now as the green flag's back in the air at lap 20. Oh, and Jimmy Johnson blows turn 2, and he's going to lose a spot to Casey Kane in the 9, and the rookie will make his way up to second. JJ Ellie's in your playoffs. My goodness. Johnson trying to get back around Kane. As they get into turns 5. Johnson to the inside of the 9. And into the S's they go. Johnson's clear for second place. He's got the spot back, and Biffle trying to get away while they battle for second behind him. And they made it through the tunnel on that restart. I wonder if turn 9 is going to be the treacherous corner of the racetrack, considering that there was smoke there, and then the next lap we ended up seeing another caution. Well, I should say our first caution, but that one was definitely a wreck that it happened. Nobody really was able to get out of the way in time. They worked their way off the finishing corner once again, at least in single file restart, so that might help a little bit. compared to nowadays when it's double file. Top 5 or top 10 for the leaderboard. I mean, I would probably prefer top 10. Oh, jeez. I definitely... Oh, my goodness. I would definitely have to see it exactly, you know, how it would work. Was this for the race highlight video you were testing that out for? From Coda, or what exactly was it for Coda? Was it the post-race analysis? Seen Cody Rhodes will be at WrestleMania. That's been rumored for a long time. I try not to buy into it so I can keep myself as surprised as possible for when debuts or comebacks happen. Try not to let the media influence my personal hype, or I guess self-pop I would get off my couch if something were to happen like that. So the first couple laps after the restart, Biffle's gotten into the wall, every single lap in turn 3, and he hasn't been able to pull away from Jimmy Johnson. He was starting to get in a somewhat consistent rhythm before the caution had come out. Now he's starting to struggle in that area of the racetrack again. Yeah, nobody pitted during that caution flag as far as we know. Greg Biffle definitely does not want to get put back in traffic. He never had to pass the car in practice. Therefore, in the race itself would be the first time he would have to pass a car in this very narrow racetrack. And I can't imagine it would be very easy. We saw how much the track position cost him at the New York City street course earlier this season when he had to restart right around 15th. With less than 20 laps to go, he was only able to get up to 3rd. And that was even on fresh tires. Keegan versus Cody Ware in a TLC match. I don't think I'd fare very well. He's got experience in those ladder matches, and I've never been in a pro wrestling match in general. He'd destroy me. When I was in Toledo for SmackDown, or not SmackDown, Raw a few months ago, I made a joke to my mom about, because my parents went with me, and I was like, hey, if they need me to be a jobber and like Brock Lesnar needs to like throw somebody over the barricade because I was only like 2 seats over from the barricade, I was like, if they need somebody to work as a jobber tonight and Brock needs to throw somebody over the barricade in frustration, he can do that to me if he wants to. I'm like, I'll take an F5 on the floor. It'll probably hurt considering I've never taken a bump before, but I'm pretty tall, so I mean, maybe the ethics of it. I'm about Lesnar's height, so it'd be, you know, somewhat decent someone at least decent size. I'll sell for him. I probably won't even have to sell because it'll be the real pain shooting through my veins. Really can't read the comment section in this area of the track. Biffle lost a little time getting into the wall in the tunnel. He had just over a 2-second lead. Now it's down to about 1.4 seconds. Jimmy Johnson definitely has a strong car. All it takes is somebody to have a better restart than Greg Biffle. But Johnson blew turn 2. He went wide. He actually lost second place and had to battle Kane the rest of the lap just to get back into second. And he is pulled away from the cars behind him. Biffle just overran. I think that was the first corner over the rumble strip. I don't want to fight any of those guys. Too nice to be in a fight. I have always wondered though what it would. I'd be down for taking like a chop. Just to, I mean, it's got to be painful, but I would like to know what it would feel like to get like a knife edge chop. As long as it's not like, well, they're gonna lay it on me either way. I don't have a say in how hard they hit me. Those can get really loud too. Already up to 14 likes on the stream tonight. Thank you for everybody hitting that like button. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Full race, realistic live commentary, live streams. Just coming up to complete lap 26 at Speedway Boulevard in the Speedway Boulevard 400 on our Daytona Beach street course. Greg Biffle's led every lap from the pole so far. He's got about a 2.8 second lead. We've had one caution today. It was back on lap 16. Two-car crash in that final corner. Brian Vickers had slammed into the wall pretty hard and then ran into hard from behind of the 143 car. Biffle making a mistake getting through turn 3 again. That has definitely been the Achilles heel corner for the 16 car so far today. He's going to have to find a way to get through there halfway decent eventually. Again, this car's not going to be able to sustain contact almost every lap going through turn 3, especially as he keeps hitting the left side of the race car every time as well. Right side of the car, for the most part, is fairly clean, but the left side is mainly all damaged from turn 3 and turn 3 alone. Over a 3-second lead now for the Biff. I have no clue what the fuel window is. Biffle has not hit halfway on fuel yet, so I have no clue what it is as of right now, if it's going to be a 2 or a 3-stop race. I'd have to assume it's going to be somewhere between there. 27 laps complete, but we have ran 3 laps under caution period as well. Oh, they're scraping into the wall. That was even before they got into turn 3 that time. Pay to see Keegan in a boxing match for winner drives a 51. Oh, jeez. I can just see, like, Jim Ross. I know he's not a boxing commentator. I can just see him in the corners. Does he have the fight? Does he have the courage to muster up enough strength? His dream is dependent on this. A lifelong dream at stake. We're back out to almost a 4.5-second lead now. It was about as big of a lead as Biffle had before the caution came out in the first place. By the way, consider I don't know. You talk about Cody wearing a boxing match. What is, like, how tall is he? How much does he weigh? I imagine he's like average race car driver size, probably like just less than 6 foot tall. Seems like a lot of drivers are on the shorter side of the spectrum. I might have the height and the weight advantage. And the reach. Unless I have to drop down to his weight class, and then I'm going to be super, super weak. It probably wouldn't work out very well. Just hit halfway on fuel on this lap. So it's looking like it's more on the two-stop strategy side of things for Greg Biffle. So he'll definitely keep that in mind. That being a two-stop strategy. Again, the big key here for Biffle, yes, he's dominating, he's leading laps now, but if we get more cautions throughout the race, we've already had one in this one. If we get more cautions throughout this one, I think Biffle's just going to have to stay out about as long as he can and just try to play the track position game as best as he can. If he has to pit under green flag conditions, at least in the first half of the race, I think it's alright to do that, considering that he would come out behind most of the field. He'd be back in at least some sort of clean air again after he makes a 4-tire stop. Assuming he could obviously hold off the leaders on fresher tires behind him on the restart if he were to have older tires and everybody else were to pit. Everybody was on equal tires that first time because nobody hit pit road during the lap 16 yellow. It was still a little too early in the race, I guess. That and everybody else is probably thinking the same thing too, with just how much track position matters. So that's why nobody else towards the front of the field wanted to pit and lose all that track position. Around 52 laps is the window. Yeah, that would make sense because it was right before lap 30. We were probably on lap 29 when we hit halfway, and we ran 3 laps under caution. So we've saved a few laps there. So right around lap 52 to 54 is likely going to be the fuel window for Greg Biffle tonight. Probably 51 to 54 is going to be the fuel window, approximately, for Greg Biffle. But definitely going to be a 2-stopper. Doubt it's going to be 3. Even with cautions. At least for Biffle. A lot of the field could end up taking 3 at some point. Biffle's going to stay committed to a 2-stop strategy because he needs track position. And he needs to make this, I guess, as boring of a race as possible for you guys. Just trying to race by himself around this track. Because he hasn't had to race around any other cars. Not in practice, obviously not in qualifying. And in the race so far, it's been pretty clean, smooth sailing. Not sure how he's going to have to react when he's around other cars. We don't even know what the car is going to handle like in traffic as well. The handling could completely be different. His handling in the race is pretty good. Practice, I struggled a little bit, but once I got to qualifying into the race for whatever reason, feels like the car just gained grip. I've said to like and subscribe a couple times. I don't want to overdo it. The only time I really kind of repeat myself a lot on saying that is on the live race commentary, where we have a lot more viewers for the live streams. A lot of you guys watching right now probably aren't new, but if you are, do as Furfur Express said in the chat. Like and subscribe. Kyle Busch blows an engine. Lap 190, turn 1 at Bristol, heartbreak. Sounds like a heartbreak. Is that on par, though, with the heartbreak? Or does that compare, I guess, to the heartbreak that Kevin Harvick has had in the races on this custom schedule season? He has blown an engine in each of the last 3 races. And even Jimmy Johnson's blown an engine in each of the last 2 races. So him running second place tonight, he needs a good finish. 2 races ago in the Brickyard 400 at Indy, though, he was also running in second place when he blew a motor there. Biffle's largest lead of the day right now, just over 7.5 seconds. We're at lap 34. Kyle Busch of 2020, where things were just awful for him, yeah. That was definitely, I'd say, the unluckiest season of his career. I mean, he still got a win. Still won a race in every single season he's ran in so far in NASCAR. just continues to grow that lead even in the second half of this fuel and tire stint. Just continues to gradually pull away lap after lap. Still running lap times in the 1:22 minute 22 second bracket area. About 0.4 of a second off his fastest time in the race up to this point in the run. Well, 32 to 33 laps on his tires. Green flag laps, that is. It's interesting if we get a caution, say right now, or anytime soon, because he's within the window to make it on 2 pit stops. The problem is he's the race leader, so he would be the first one to make the decision up. So if he pits, maybe everybody else goes off strategy, stays out, and then Greg Biffle's put in a box where he'd have to restart back in traffic for the first time. That would not be ideal for Greg Biffle, so he may, again, consider staying out of the pits, even in the back half of the fuel and tire stint. Unless we're extremely close to where he would end up having to make a green flag stop anyway. It's definitely the longest green flag run of the 2 green flag runs we've had today. This one has gone, looks like about a lap further under green than the first run did. We went 16 laps for our first caution. This is the 17th lap of this current green flag run from the time we went green at lap 19. That will be lap 20 in this green flag run this time by. I'll do something that's going to be a little bit more challenging on this very challenging street course race, and that'll be alternate through the different camera angles for the first time today when we get back to the start-finish line this time around. Hopefully I don't tear the car up too much doing it. Field's definitely getting really spaced out apart now, as you see in the top right-hand corner of the screen on the track map. Definitely a lot of battles going on in there as they're clumped together in certain spaces, but spreading apart the field a little bit more. Nice thing with this being a 3-mile road course is, unless we have a ridiculously long green flag run, which we'd probably have to cycle through maybe both green flag pit stops to be able to actually catch any sort of lap traffic, because even after one set of green flag stops, it's going to space the field apart even more. Biffle still has over half a track before he catches the last place car on the racetrack right now. Not sure if anybody is out of this race or not. Oh, nope, already made a mistake in the tunnel. Yeah, I saw that coming. That didn't work out too well. Oh, kind of scraped the wall in turn 5 as well. Definitely haven't seen a lot of action ourselves around this racetrack, outside of that one yellow, which we were only able to see because of the caution replay itself. I'd have to assume there's been action on this track where we have not been. Considering even just the one time we saw smoke in that final corner, the lap before there was even an accident. Definitely a crazy restart out of the rearview mirror of Greg Biffle that last time by as well, with Johnson going wide in turn 2, Kane getting around him, and Johnson fighting back for the bottom to get around Kane a few corners later. And Biffle pulls away. It's just a one-man show. He led every lap in last night's Busch Series race at Dover. That's one thing to do that in a Busch race, but if he could do that in a Cup Series race, that would be way more impressive. Considering that there is more pit stops to have to go through. In most cases, twice as many laps as well. Got the wall again in turn 3. I believe that's 2 laps in a row. If I had a nickel for every time we were going to hit the wall in turn 3 tonight, might make ourselves a decent amount of cash by the end of the night. We had to have hit it every bit of about 75% of the laps we've ran so far. I would not be surprised if we've hit that wall almost 30 times in the 40 laps we've ran. Hit the wall on the right-hand side that time in the... almost said the curb lane, but meant to say the rumble strip corner. One of them at least. Reminds you of an F1 track just by the look of it. Yeah, I mean, it is a street course, and there's obviously a lot of street courses in IndyCar and Formula 1, open wheel racing in general. Not too many areas on this track as well where there's any fans. I've noticed that with some of the other fantasy road courses. Some of them there's a lot, and then some of them there is very little, and definitely don't see any around the curbing areas. I keep saying curbing. During the rumble strip corners. I have to see if there's any on the main straightaway this time around. Maybe on the other side of the pit wall. I don't really see anything. We're all the NASCAR fans. There's some campers in the infield right here on the left. There's some fans on the right side as well. So it looks like turn 2, there's quite a few fans on both sides of the racetrack. And I think that's literally the only area on this track where there's any sort of fans is in turn 2. And in the dirt area. The dirt area, there's some campers going through there as well. There's a Sunoco gas station on the right. Parking lot to whatever that was full. Oh, wow. That was a pretty bad corner. That left front fender's in the red right now for Greg Biffle, and he hasn't even made it to the first pit stop yet. Sad because he's got a really fast race car, but he has to find a way to dial these corners in a little bit better, or he is not going to be able to make it to the end of this race. We're only on lap 42 of 133. Bukaki, welcome to the stream. His pit stop's going to be in the next 10 to 15 laps. I think he'll be able to make it to the first stop. He's not going to be able to repair that much damage. Nathan Elliott, welcome to the stream as well. Am I going to the Glen in person this year? No, actually, I'm not going to any road course races in the Cup Series. The only road course I'll be at this year is the Truck Series race at Mid-Ohio. It's the only road course race I'll be in person this year. I think 2018 was the last time. Well, I guess 2020 I didn't go to a road course race, but I only went to 3 races because most of them I couldn't go because there were no fans at a lot of the races that year. But outside of that, last year I went to a couple of them. Went to Road America, Indianapolis road course, Mid-Ohio for the Xfinity race. I think that was it for the road courses last year. The year before that was 2020. 2019 I went to Watkins Glen, Roval. I'm forgetting road course somewhere in there. There was another one I went to last season. Which one am I forgetting? Not Pocono, not Nashville. Maybe I'm not forgetting one. I was thinking I was forgetting one. I mean, I guess there's only 6 on the schedule. I guess that would make sense. It's the only ones I haven't been to that are on the schedule right now are Sonoma and Coda. Obviously, Portland for the Xfinity Series. Biffle got really, really loose. And usually when he gets loose in that area of the track, he's not able to actually catch the car and keep it off the wall. But that time he did, which was huge. Because again, that left front fender is in the red, and I don't think he could really take that many more hits without DNFing. And that would be a really tough spot to DNF in a race like this where he is leading, and knowing that we are going to be halfway through the season when this race concludes today as well. At the wall on the right-hand side. At least the car's not as damaged on that side. If he is going to make contact with any wall, he's hoping it's the right front rather than the left front right now. I'm sure I would like any of them. I'm not going to lie, when I did go to Watkins Glen the first time, I was a little leery on just, you know, how it would be only going to ovals before that. But once I went to Watkins Glen, it opened my mind up. I'm like, okay, I'd like to go to more road course races. It's no different than going to ovals in the sense that you're going to have a good time. You're still going there to see a NASCAR race. It may be a little different at first, but once you get like midway through the race, you become used to it. It's just those first few laps it is kind of weird. I would imagine that's probably the same thing for anybody that's only been to road courses and has never been to an oval, and then they go to an oval for the first time. Going to go back to the far chase cam when we get back around to the start-finish line this time by. Haven't noticed anybody make a green flag pit stop yet. It'll be interesting to see exactly when we get to that first pit stop of the race for the rest of the field. Biffle's going to take this run as far as he can before he pits. He would definitely like it to stay green, at least until he makes his pit stop. Because I don't think he trusts the pit crew. So he gets into the wall on the left side of the race car again. And again, it was in turn 3 in the dirt. Yeah, exactly. Dale Jr. has the points lead right now, too. Last thing Greg Biffle would need is a DNF. He's got 2 of them this season, and they've both come on fantasy road courses. The Devil's Canyon and the Phoenix road course. The Phoenix infield layout. Or the Phoenix Roval, I guess. He is coming off a top 10 in the last race on a fantasy road course at the Texas Roval. The Texas road course / infield. Had a 3rd on the New York City street course, which again, this is the 2nd street course race of the season. And again, he's in the wall with the right side of the car. And every time he has hit the wall on the inside of turn 3, he tends to ricochet into the outside wall as well. He did not that time. Keeps it off the wall at least enough. Fastest lap of race was on lap 46. No, I don't believe so. We had a 122.791 the last lap, and our fast lap of the race was a 122.206. Unless you meant lap 45, the lap before that, which I guess could have been possible. I wasn't paying attention that lap. Back in the 123.1s that last lap. But we did get into the wall in turn 3 again. Largest lead of the day and growing, 13.4 seconds ahead of 2nd place, assuming it is still Jimmy Johnson. Little wiggle again in turn 3 on these older tires, trying to catch the car off the exit of turn 4. Able to save it. Great job by Greg Biffle not overcorrecting the race car, because he just about did it. He almost hit the outside wall in turn 3, and then he overcorrected it in the middle of the dirt area of the racetrack, which is probably the worst area to overcorrect the car. It started pointing back to the left as if he was going to spin going into turn 4 and hit left front first into the inside wall in turn 4, and he was able to straighten the car back out off the exit of the corner, thankfully. Never hit a thing. Look how much time he lost this lap, though, just with that big wiggle. Pretty much all the way from the exit of turn 3 to the exit of turn 4. He was out of shape and went from a 13.4 second lead, and he was about 1.1 seconds slower than the 2nd place car that last lap. You'll see it on the lap time at the line of 124.261. Have some cars coming out of the pit lane up ahead. So it looks like lap 47 for these guys is when these cars hit pit road. Greg Biffle's just going to sit behind the 137. He's going to be in a little bit dirtier air for the first time today, but he's not going to try to pass any traffic with that soft left front fender. Knowing his pit stop's coming up very soon, he'll get right back into the clean air once he makes his stop. Nobody directly behind him, although he is ahead of some of the lead lap cars. Or now a lap down, I guess, technically. The rumble strips. If we're taking it maybe a little easy behind the 137. Now he's on the inside of the 137 car. Makes the clean pass on him. I don't even know where... Oh, I was like... I didn't see him in the rearview mirror. I was like, where'd he go? Did he go into the pits again? Like a ghost, he just vanished there for a second. Thought he was going to try a crossover move or something. I guess Biffle was able to make the pass. The finishing corner is going to give him a little bit of clean air into turn 3, and he's able to get through there on lap 50 without hitting the wall. It's back-to-back laps. He's been able to get through there without any mistakes. Well, this race is going to play like a Formula One race as well. Somebody earlier said it reminded them of an F1 track. And I say that because it's going to be basically strategy-based for anybody to try and get around Greg Biffle, and also strategy-based in the sense that Biffle needs to just manage the track position, hold on to the lead as much as he can. And I think green flag pit stops are going to be the way to do that. He's taken the first run as far as he could. That first caution on lap 16 didn't really hold him back hardly at all. Really, ever since then, he's been running fine as well. 143 car is the second car in front of Biffle right now. Mark Martin would be the last car in the lead lap. 143 was involved in that first and only accident, along with Brian Vickers in the 25 car. Could you imagine if we get a slow car on this racetrack in a narrow area where we can't see him? If somebody blows an engine today and then comes back into the race. That was a hit into the outside wall, a ricochet from the bottom of the racetrack for Greg Biffle that time. I think Martin's looking to make a pass in turn 5 underneath the 143 in the area of the track where it widens out a little bit more. And Martin will make the clean pass. Biffle on the attack on the 143 as well. Lap 52 this time by. Biffle doesn't plan on pitting. He's underneath the 143. Now on the outside. He'll be on the outside next corner, and then he'll be on the inside in the next 2 turns. He has cleared the 143, and he should be able to clear Mark Martin into the next corner as well, and he does. Oh, Martin almost gets into the side of the 143 car. You see all the front end damage on the 143 from Brian Vickers. That's a battle for the free pass position if we do get a caution right now. Again, they'll be back on the lead lap soon. And now the 143 gets into the outside wall in turn 3, so at least Biffle's not the only one having that issue today. Super hard tires. Hey, I said kind of like F1, not exactly like F1. Robbie Gordon trying to make a pass now. I believe it's on the 177 car as they run side by side. Greg Biffle closing. Oh, he gets into Gordon with the left front fender. That was not at all what Greg Biffle wanted to do there. Great save by Robbie Gordon. Biffle could have DNF'd with that hit on the right rear quarter panel of the 31 car. Luckily, he did not. Yep, that is the new play in R6. And I have not done the trivia question yet. Still shy of the halfway mark. Still got to keep it off the wall in turn 3 this time. 41.4 second lead, but Greg Biffle still has to make a pit stop. I'm not sure if every car in the lead lap is pit at this point yet. Biffle into the back of the 177 of Lonnie McKinney. These two have had a couple of run-ins as of late this season. Greg Biffle got into the back of him there. Make the pass in the next corner. At least Biffle's getting some sort of practice racing in traffic. around the lap cars for right now. We'll get a break in that action very soon when he does make his first pit stop. Lap 54, he's still out on the track. Definitely losing time on the older tires compared to the leaders, especially second place, who has really no traffic around him. And by the way, that last lap was Biffle's fastest of the race, even with a little contact with Lonnie McKinney at one point. At 122.137. In traffic, too. That was blistering fast lap for Biffle. In traffic and even with a mistake. Very shocking. Big close on the 22 car of Scott Wimmer. Biffle gonna look low underneath Wimmer. Gets around him very cleanly. And out very low on fuel for the Biff. He'll stay out this time by, and he might end up hitting the following time by. Lapped about 3 more cars that lap. Lap 55. And Greg Biffle will pit this time by. So he won't risk it another lap. Though he may be able to make it 1 more lap, he's still not going to push the issue. And Greg Biffle will make his first pit stop of the night. The Mr. Clean crew will go to work. Brendan Gaughan, Ricky Craven, last 2 cars on the lead lap in front of Biffle. They won't have to fight to stay on the lead lap. I think Biffle's going to pit this time by. They battle each other for position. Biffle underneath Gaughan right now. Now he's underneath Ricky Craven in the 32. He's going to need that bottom lane open in turn 5 as Biffle just hit the wall again. And there it is. Left lane will be the pit lane. 70 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit. He'll get down with these. Definitely some damage to repair on the left front fender, but other than that, no adjustments will be made on the 16 car during the first pit stop of the night. And the middle-aged receded hairline men have made their work on the 16 car, and back out and away goes Greg Biffle through turns 1 and 2 as he gets up to speed on a long straightaway now as they'll enter into the tunnel. So I don't believe the left front fender's in the red anymore, but I don't know how many more bits of contact are going to cause that fender to go back into the red again. Greg Biffle's going to hope he never finds out. He's got about an 11.8 second lead. So he lost a little bit of time, but it was a clean stop nonetheless for the Mr. Clean crew. Have to invite you guys to join the online lobbies in NASCAR 21. Is that how that... I've never tried it before. So I have literally zero clue how it's going to work. Oh, you still can't choose the lobby itself? Why is that even a thing? I don't I don't know. I heard that was kind of similar to how it went. I never actually raced on an online lobby, but I have looked at how the setup was at least once, and I do remember that being the case before, but I thought they might have fixed that when they added the private lobbies as well. No, not really. Well, that stinks. I mean, we'll still try it. Probably something I should have tested on my own time first, just to see how it would go. To look at it and decide. I'll take a quick glance at it in between. I'm just trying to think what else I could do. Trying to decide on something that I can stick to game plan wise and actually get a lot of you guys that have that NASCAR 21 Ignition, if any of you guys have NASCAR 21 Ignition for that matter, and be able to play. Yeah, I don't have Heat 5 anymore. I know a couple people have mentioned to just go back to it, and I can't. Unless I go back out and rebuy it, but I really don't want to do that. Three laps in a row, Greg Biffle's hit the wall in either the tunnel or on the outside of turn 3. Starting to become a little bit of an issue again. He was able to go about 55 laps roughly on fuel. I'd say right around 52 laps on green flag laps. So again, it should just be a one-stop race to the finish. Greg Biffle is considering short pitting if he catches lap traffic. So he knows that's going to end up slowing him down, as he's going to have to be patient with it, as we kind of saw before he ended up making that pit stop. Especially knowing that it is not hard to damage the car on this track with the tight corners. Man, oh man. Another scrape to the outside wall in turn 3. It should have put some sponsorship on the outside of turn 3 so they could have gotten some recognition. And Greg Biffle's not the only one struggling in that corner. One of the few laps that we actually had lap cars around us in the middle of the green flag pit stops before Biffle made his first stop of the night. He was racing around a lot of drivers, and even a couple other ones were going wide in turn 3 or hitting the wall in turn 3 as well. Definitely the most difficult corner on the racetrack for anybody. Now, the one caution actually came out in this final corner right here at lap 16. We still haven't had another caution since. Honestly, when we had that one that early, I thought that was going to be an issue going forward, because we were going to keep seeing cautions right around that 16 lap mark or so during a green flag run, but that's obviously not the case, at least right now. This goes to show, even on a difficult racetrack like this, and a new one at that for the Cup Series that none of these drivers have ever raced on before, any caution could be the last. Really hard to predict the strategy going forward because you just don't know how the cautions will fall the rest of the race, if they even fall. A little easier with stage racing because you know there is at least 2 stoppages at some point that you'll get a caution. Not to mention a competition yellow on top of it at times. And that is warranted. Greg Biffle's led all 62 laps so far, though. Largest lead of the race that wasn't in the middle of green flag pit stops is right now at about 16.5 seconds over second place as well. Alright, Manu, welcome to the stream. No problem. I see a couple of you guys are a little later tonight. It's no big deal. As long as you guys end up coming in, I greatly appreciate the fact that you guys still stop by out of your own time, especially on a nightly basis for a lot of you. Greatly appreciate it, as always. One thing I'd appreciate a little bit more is also if you hit that like button down below if you haven't already, and also subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already. Live realistic commentary for real races and video game races during the week. Real races on the race weekend. Not going to be doing any live commentary this weekend for the races at Richmond. I'm not going to Richmond in person, but setting out to watch the race with my grandparents this weekend, so going to watch some racing with the family for the first time this year, and I'll make it up to you guys because the following week at Martinsville I will be commentating on the channel the live commentary for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, back-to-back nights, Friday and Saturday night. Xfinity race Friday night when I get off of work. One of the few Xfinity or truck races I can actually not only commentate for but even watch from start to finish, considering that I work Fridays and Saturdays, but night races I can get home in plenty of time for. So Xfinity Series next Friday night I'll be doing live commentary, and the next Saturday night for the Cup race at Martinsville as well. Both races at Martinsville for the Xfinity and the Cup I will be doing live commentary. Appreciate that comment, by the way, Ryan. Fun fact, playing NASCAR 4 while watching this. Alright, awesome. That was one thing I always liked about my, I had a PSP when I grew up when I was younger, and I always played a lot of sports games growing up, so if I was like watching football on the weekend or watching NASCAR on the weekend, whatever it was I was watching, like baseball game, if I was watching Tigers, I was always playing whatever game on my PSP while the game was actually going on. I was just kind of doing both, watch the game while I'm playing. So I can relate to that for sure. Biffle's about to catch this lap traffic now. The 142 and the 103 car side by side in front of him. Yeah, this is a very narrow racetrack, but we've really only seen cars go side by side in the back half of the racetrack itself. Biffle down to the bottom looking to make a pass. It's Russell Jackson in the 142 car. Biffle's trying to work around as we speak, so I think Biffle's going to pit this time now that he's in lap traffic. A little bit of a short pit. So looks like it'll be 4 tires and fuel again for Greg Biffle. Slides onto pit road quite a bit that time, trying to slow the car up to meet that minimum pit road speed of 70 miles an hour. So pit stop number 2 for Greg Biffle tonight. So now it's turned from a 2-stop race to a 3-stop race with Biffle pitting right now. Taking a 3-stop strategy to try and get a little bit more clean air, hopefully where he comes out around. Plus, if we are to get another caution, everybody else would likely end up pitting and he'd be able to cycle right back to the lead and wouldn't have to worry about restarting in traffic. So that's another bright side with short pitting now. It means he was about to be in traffic anyway because of the lap cars. But now he's got 4 fresh Goodyears. And he is looking to take advantage with it as he cycles out in the 9th place position right behind Tony Stewart, the 20. Jimmy Johnson leads. Biffle's led every lap in this race so far, and now Biffle pulls to the inside of Stewart looking to make the pass in turn 6, and he'll complete the pass with ease on Stewart. Biffle's had the fastest car in the field as it is, and now with these fresher tires, it might only be a handful of laps before he gets back to the lead, and he's already made his 2nd stop. Pretty close to halfway. I think we'll officially be halfway this time by lap 67. Sadler going really wide. Thought he was going to end up in the pit wall there for a second. Trying to make a pass on Jeff Gordon. Might have gotten a little tight in the dirty air. Biffle's just going to have to be patient, though, behind Sadler and Gordon. I don't think Sadler's going to be patient, though. He might get alongside the 24 car, and if he does into the tunnel, this could get tight. Biffle's just going to line back. Biffle looking to the outside of Elliott. Off the exit of turn 4. It's not really going to work either. Through 5, and turn 6 is going to be interesting with these 3 cars nose to tail. Biffle to the outside of Elliott Sadler. Not going to work as they go through the S's. Sadler to the inside of Gordon for position. Biffle going to try to take advantage as well. They're 3 wide. 3 wide through the rumble strips. And now Gordon with a crossover on Sadler. Biffle going to clear them both as they race each other a little bit harder to his outside. Sadler's got to run on Biffle. Biffle pulls up the block, and here comes Gordon now to the inside into turn 1 on Sadler for 7th place. Biffle tries to hold on. Oh, trouble! Sadler turned by Jeff Gordon in turn 2. Caution on the racetrack, a hard hit for Elliott Sadler. Into the outside wall. Jeff Gordon just turned the 38 car. And backs right into Tony Stewart. What was that? I didn't see those two make contact. I wonder if they might have made contact when they were 3 wide through the rumble strips, because Jeff Gordon just turned Elliott Sadler. And now we're going to get a caution again. Greg Biffle going to stay out. And it looks like everybody in front of him will stay out as well. So we're about to have our second restart of the race. Guess Jeff had enough, I guess. I mean, both cars were in the top 10. Green flag back in the air. And here we go. Biffle pulling out of line, trying to make a pass on Dale Jr. Kevin Harvick is going to go a little bit wide. Casey Kane gets into him in turn 2. They're 3 wide. They better file down to single file by the time they get into the tunnel, or it's not going to work. Biffle's going to back out of the gas and just let Sadler in front of him. He did not want to be side by side going through this area of the racetrack. It's a good thing Kane and Harvick were no longer side by side as well. Welcome to the stream as well, Kaylee Crosby. Dale Jr. pulling out of line on Casey Kane. Big dive into turn 6 as Biffle's going to outbrake Elliott Sadler, making the pass on him. Into the S's looking on Dale Jr. Big block by Jr. Crossover by Biffle to get to the inside of the 8 car. Casey Kane as well trying to make a pass on Kevin Harvick. Mentioned the restart was crazy out of the rear view of Greg Biffle earlier today, and it looks like it is crazy in the pack right now as well. First time Biffle's really been racing hard for position in this one. Oh, and he gets pinched off by Kevin Harvick. Then Casey Kane got into the back of him, and Kane's going to go wide. Sadler on the inside of Dale Jr. into turn 1. Biffle under Harvick. Side by side. Harvick going to let Biffle go into the tunnel. Biffle up to P3. Big drift as he gets into the dirt. Matt Kenseth all over the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson for the lead. Johnson and Biffle, the only 2 leaders tonight. Biffle by far has led the most. No, we have not had the trivia yet tonight. Biffle looking to get around Matt Kenseth for second. And he's not far behind Jimmy Johnson either. Biffle is right there. And now he's under Johnson for the lead. Oh, contact! Kenseth's going to go wide, and potentially lose third to Harvick. There's contact between the 29 and the 17. Kenseth will fend Harvick off for third. Two laps in a row, Biffle has slid on entry into 3, but he kept it off the wall both times. Had a big run last time to make the pass for second on Kenseth. Is that going to allow him to get a big run into turn 6 on Jimmy Johnson for the lead this time? It does allow him to get the run. Biffle to the inside of Johnson. Side by side, the Daytona Beach Street Course. Biffle trying to clear the 48, but hasn't done it yet. And Biffle has cleared the 48. So on the fresher tires, Greg Biffle is back out in front. Speedway Boulevard. Jimmy Johnson lost a lot of ground that lap. I wonder what happened to him. Biffle's got a little over a 1.5 second lead all of a sudden. Jimmy made a big mistake in that final corner. Looks like Kenseth has reeled him back in as well. Sorry if there was a buffer at all there with the stream. I noticed there was a lag for a couple seconds on my end, but it didn't look like it was too bad, and I think everything's fine now. Seems like it down to the chat. Well, at least we got to see some racing tonight. It took over half the race to get to it, but all it took was Elliott Sadler getting dumped by Jeff Gordon in turn 2, and at least we had an exciting restart, but Biffle was able to really take control on fresher tires. If he would have been on equal tires, it would have been a lot harder to pass. Knowing this racetrack. So Biffle's fortunate he was in 6th place as well on fresher tires. Not like he had to pass too many cars as well. 15 to 20 lap fresher tires on the rest of the field. So it sounds like Mark Martin is coming back on the track. So I guess Martin had an engine issue at some point earlier in the race. And I had mentioned something at the very beginning of the day. I wonder if anybody is going to try to come back out on the racetrack if they blow an engine early on to try to get points back. And that seems to be the case, which is going to be interesting, knowing how tight this racetrack is. Jeff wasn't having it anyway. I don't know what he was so mad at. I don't think Sadler and Gordon made contact. The only explanation I've got, logical at least, is that they had made contact when they were 3 wide for the lead, but Biffle was able to get around him, or sorry, 3 wide for 6th. Biffle was able to get around him. So we didn't actually see if they made contact or not. It was a little bit off our screen. It was during this area of the racetrack over the rumble strips. Who knows how long they were battling for position as well before Biffle had gotten in the mix. So Greg Biffle has already clinched the most laps led in this one now, leading that last lap at the start-finish line. So 10 bonus points for Greg Biffle today. Now looking for a max points day to go with it. He did lead the most laps, not the last race, but it would have been within this stretch of races he has not won. He has led the most laps twice, but hasn't gotten the win. The extreme measure in that would have been a 9th place finish after leading over 200 laps. In one of the more recent races, which was, I believe, Atlanta Motor Speedway. I do have to look up the trivia question. I don't have one on me right now. I'll pause it on the front stretch right now and try to get the question quickly for you guys. Let's see here. Pausing it to get the trivia question real quick. I have an idea for what I'm going to ask you guys, but I'm not entirely sure yet. No, I don't think that's going to work. Nope. Well, I can't ask that question. Trying to make a Daytona road course related, considering that this is a Daytona Beach street course race. It's only a couple races at the track, so it's kind of hard to find something. I'm still looking. Hey, getting sucked into the wall in 04. Yeah, I've been having that problem in turn 3 tonight at Speedway Boulevard. This isn't even Thunder 04 either. It's really easy to do. Oh, I have an idea for what question I'm going to ask now. Oh! Back to OBS there for a second. I don't know how that happened. All right. I believe I have the question. All right. I have found a trivia question for the night. So we come to lap 78 in this one. Again, Greg Biffle, if you're just tuning in, has clinched the most laps led already. He has dominated this race after qualifying on the pole. And he could go quite a ways on fuel. He still has to make one more pit stop in this one. The rest of the field will also have to make one more pit stop as well. So it's interesting when they all will pit. Biffle went about 55 laps before pitting the first time today, but he also had a few caution laps in the middle of it. Tonight's trivia question on our Daytona Beach street course race is, who are the only 3 drivers to finish inside the top 10 on both of the NASCAR Cup Series races at the Daytona Road Course? So both the points races, there are only 2 of them. In the 2 points paying races on the Daytona Road Course for the Cup Series in 2020-2021, who are the only 3 drivers to finish in the top 10 in both races? See if any of you guys can get that down in the chat, and at lap 90 I'll give you guys the answer if I don't see it down in the chat beforehand. It's like there is a slow car on the racetrack. I'm not sure if that's Mark Martin who came out of the pits or if that's somebody else who is just now blowing an engine. The pack's kind of broken up just a little bit as well. There are 3 drivers, and Chase Elliott is not one of them. Believe it or not, he won the first race there, but the second race he wrecked late on one of the last couple restarts and finished outside the top 10. You guys got to try to guess all 3, though. You guys can't collectively all guess on one. You got to try to name the 3 drivers. Oh boy. Yeah, some of you guys are still saying Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott did not get a top 10 on both Daytona road course races. Kevin Harvick also did not. Christopher Bell won one of the races, but the first race there in 2020, he did not get a top 10. Joey Logano is one of the drivers who did get a top 10. That'll be the hint, I guess, is that I'll give you one of them. Joey Logano was one of the drivers. Into the wall in turn 3. He's on the inside, kept it off the outside wall though. Vettel's expanded to almost a 4.5 second lead now. See, Larson, Busch, Truex is not it. I'll give you guys another hint at lap 85. But I don't want to spoil it right now. Larson did not race 2020. Yes, that's a good point. I saw some of you guys guessing Kyle Larson there. Larson was not in the 2020 race. Busch 2, Logano 2. Yeah, lap 85, I'll give you guys another hint. Unless I see somebody getting all three down in the chat in one of them. It is Hamlin and Logano for sure. Well, like I said, Logano was one of them. I don't want to give you guys the other one because nobody really has gotten at least two of them in this. Well, I guess R6 is the only one that's gotten two in the same guess. Ooh, another hit into the wall. At least the fender's not in the red right now for Greg Biffle. Caution. Again, for the third time today at lap 81, and we'll see what it is. Starting to get a lot more yellows all of a sudden. This time it's on the... Oh, 145! A hard accident into the back of Elliott Sadler, who I believe blew an engine in the tunnel. Oh my gosh, nowhere to go. And that's one thing that I even feared when I was back in traffic, because we've seen engine failures, obviously, this season. And I think they're within the window to be able to make it on fuel now to the end of the race, so Greg Biffle's going to pit. And everybody else is going to stay out. Wow. So Greg Biffle is going to pit thinking he has enough fuel to be able to make it to the end. Caution at lap 81. He went about 52 green flag laps earlier. This is going to be about 52 to 53 laps. By the time they go green, it's probably going to be closer to maybe 50, 51 laps to go. And the Mr. Clean Crew will go to work. The third stop of the day for Greg Biffle. This is going to put him back in traffic. Logano, Bowman, McDowell. That is close. Yeah, R6 did answer tonight's trivia question correctly. Again, the trivia question was, who are the two drivers, or sorry, who are the three drivers to get a top 10 in both Daytona Road Course Cup Series points races? The three drivers were, Bobby Labonte just passed Greg Biffle on the restart. The three drivers were, when I get a second to actually talk, were Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Michael McDowell. I think Bobby Labonte is the slow car, by the way, and they are 2x2 into the tunnel up ahead. Hopefully they make it. Biffle's praying they make it because you can't really see anything in the tunnel. But yeah, R6 did get it right down in the chat. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Michael McDowell were the three drivers. to have a top 10 in both Daytona Road Course points-paying races in 2020 and 2021. So at least we know Bobby Labonte's off the pace for future reference. Oh, we have a lot of cars pitting this time. Biffle's just going to back off and let them pit. Oh, we got trouble. Big smoke on the front stretch. Biffle can't see at all. No caution. We have somebody very slow. The 137 car checked up into turn 1. I don't know what's going on here. Wonder if we might have some drivers running out of gas. I don't believe so. These guys just pitted about 30 laps ago. There was such a giant stack up into turn 1, though. Jimmy Johnson's got a big lead at the front of the field. So we went green at lap 85, which would mean that we had about 49 laps to go. Biffle just ran into the back of Scott Smith. Might have some more cars pitting this time by. I wonder if Elliott Sadler also blowing an engine had anything to do with some of the damage he might have received from Jeff Gordon prior. Oh, another hard hit into the outside wall. Fourth caution of the race. It was off of turn, well, the final turn, whatever turn that is. Saw it right out of the rear view. The 145 car of Scott Smith nailed the pit road entrance, overdriving the corner. So now we get another caution. Our fourth of the day, and we have had 3 yellows in about the last 15 to 20 laps. 4 total on the race. Greg Biffle will stay out. He thinks he's still good on fuel. He's going to have a couple lap older tires than everybody else, and I would assume everybody who has not pit yet will pit now. Controller was vibrating over the rumble strips on my lap. I almost dropped it. And Biffle will be the leader. Had to get a drink of water there for a second. Green flag back in the air. Lap 91. So everybody should be good on fuel to the end of the race now. Casey Kane get overdrive turn 1. They're going to be 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. Kane, Gordon, Bush. They're not going to be able to make it into the tunnel 3 wide, but they're going to try it. Oh, I think they had some contact. And I think Casey Kane somehow came out with second place and all that. And as they battle hard behind race leader Greg Biffle, Biffle's already out to about an 1/8 of a second lead. And cautions have been breeding cautions late in this race, though. So I would not be surprised if we see any more of the rest of this race today. How many road course races has Denny Hamlin won? I'm going to say 2 at Watkins Glen, and that's it. I don't think he's ever won at Sonoma. No, he hasn't won the Roval or any of the new road courses. So yeah, I'm going to say 2 at Watkins Glen. I believe it's 2. Now Biffle's just got to hope that he doesn't damage the left side of the race car in turn 3 the rest of this race today. So the 3-stop strategy has left Greg Biffle in the lead. It's a good thing he pitted under the caution that he did, that he was able to cycle back out into the lead under that 4th yellow because he figured that he was already good to the end on fuel. He would have had to go 49 laps to be able to make it to the end. He had 3 more caution laps he just ran moments ago as well, which also helped. So now, instead of just 1, there are actually 2 slow cars on the racetrack that are down a cylinder from what it looks like. Bobby Labonte in the 18 car is one of them. But the way the cautions have come out so far tonight, I don't think we're done seeing the last yellow, so Greg Biffle still may have to survive some restarts going forward. It just seems like the leader's able to hold on to the lead on the restarts every time. Jimmy Johnson was able to hold on at least for a few laps before Biffle was able to take control of fresher tires, but on equal tires, it's such a battle for second on back that the leader's able to get away, and he has almost a second lead after the first lap is over. You just gotta hope that nobody can get that launch into turn 1 and force the leader to the outside in turn 2, like we've seen with some drivers today, really from second on back. And obviously these drivers are going to have to catch Bobby Labonte a few more times for the end of the race. It is a 3-mile road course, so it's going to be a while even with him off the pace before anybody catches him. Biffle's going to have to be very, very patient getting around him, especially depending on what part of the track he catches him on. If he catches him in the rumble strips, that's probably going to be the best area for Biffle to catch the slow car of Labonte. But he's going to have to be aware if he's going to close in on him in the tunnel and maybe just back out of the gas and back it way down and not risk running into the back of him. Because, again, Elliott Sadler blew an engine in the tunnel earlier. He got drilled from behind and brought out a multi-car accident, which was our 3rd yellow of the race. Which allowed Biffle to short pit for that 3rd and final stop. Put him right back in the lead after the 4th yellow. Have exactly 40 laps to go. The Daytona Beach street course. I will say the road courses have been inconsistent this year for Greg Biffle, but the street courses have been pretty good. At least on the one and only one we've had. A 3rd place finish at New York City street course, and now Daytona Beach street course. He's led the most laps, and he looks as if he's going to be on his way to winning this one. As long as he just keeps nailing his restarts as he has through the most part today, we know he's fast once he gets a couple laps into the run to pull away. Definitely can't beat up that left side as well. But it's his race to lose right now. But it's also interesting because we don't know exactly where Dale Jr. is at after the cycling of how everybody pitted during those last 2 caution flags. Where was Dale Jr. and all that? And where is he running now? Because he's been in the top 10 the entire race. He hasn't led any laps. The only 2 drivers who have led today are Jimmy Johnson and Greg Biffle. Nobody else has led a lap. Biffle has by far led the most. He's clinched the most laps led. Denny Hamlin's only got 1 road course win. Almost won his 2nd. Yeah, he finished 2nd at Daytona in the road course race in 2021 as well. Or sorry, 2020. Not 2021. It was 2020 he finished in 2nd. Right behind Chase Elliott. Made it kind of interesting that last lap too. Yeah, 22 likes on the stream right now. Like and subscribe if you haven't already for more daily NASCAR content. Our goal was 30 likes on tonight's stream, so we are almost there. We still have about 38 laps to go. hopefully planning on doing the online lobby live stream tonight. I will check it out after this race is over, and I'll put in the community tab, you know, maybe what the idea could be going forward. I think what I'll end up doing, I'll check it out. If I can't set up my lobby like I'm thinking I can, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to postpone it. It was supposed to be tomorrow night anyway, originally. I know I can't do tomorrow night with WrestleMania going on tomorrow night. And that's why I was going to do it as a doubleheader today. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably put it multiple options for you guys on a poll of what night and what time would be best for as soon as possible to get that online lobby live stream out. And that would also give me enough time for, you know, anybody that has it to put in the comments section. Or not to put in the comments section. I guess I'll put my email in there. And then you guys can email me what your PlayStation Network password is. And then I can... Or not your password. No, don't email me your PlayStation Network password. That's not what I meant to say. PlayStation Network ID, so I can send you a link before I go live that night, so that way some of you guys can get on, assuming you're available that day. So I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, is I'll have a poll, you guys vote for it, and then once you vote, I'll end the poll probably like within a few hours after the poll goes out. And then we'll have the set time, and that's how I'll make my streaming schedule for next week accordingly. As, you know, whatever night that ends up being on and whatever time slot that'll end up being on, that will be the time slot, and I'll go off of your guys' time. Yeah, I mean, some of you guys... I know some of you guys have sent friend requests in the past, and I just accept them if I see them. You know, I don't even have the notifications on, so I kind of have to like go in there irregularly and check up on it. So I do know some of you guys I could probably get to, but I'd still need clarification on which one's you, because it's been a long time, and you know, I don't really play online. Well, I don't play online at all outside of on the channel. I hardly play at all regardless outside of the channel. So I definitely know who most of you guys are on there, or at least can't remember. So either way, I'll put my email, and you guys can email me once we get the time slot and all that figured out. Because it's going to be a late night tonight. It's already 9:08, and we still have about 35 laps to go this time by. And this time by, we'll have 35 to go. I have to work tomorrow. See, I was thinking Sunday night originally when I was making the streaming schedule to just do it on Sunday night. It was a night I didn't work, but WrestleMania is going on that night too. It's Saturday and Sunday, so I was like, oh, well, shoot. That's why I had a Saturday night originally. I was like, oh, man, it's 2 nights this year, and it kind of threw me off. Yeah, so Biffle's aware Yaley was in front of him that time into the tunnel. He's just going to back out of the gas. He's going to ride through here easily, now into the dirted area of the racetrack and into turn 4. Biffle will go to the outside of Yaley, and he'll blow right around him there. So Biffle definitely lost a couple seconds of time over those 3 to 4 corners, but it was well worth it. He didn't get in a wreck with Yaley. And he definitely caught him in the worst spot possible. And now the rest of the field is going to have to work their way around the 18 car as well. They'll probably catch him in the better portion of the track through the rumble strips. Slides the tires quite a bit that time. So we're on lap 99. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream. "34 laps to go. Speedway Boulevard." So the lead got trimmed down to about 2.2 seconds. Right back to about 3.2 to 3.3 once second place finally got around J.J. Yaley. Biffle lost a couple seconds of his lead. Got 1 second of it back immediately the next lap. The rest of the field's still trying to work around that 18 car. Triplets, my goodness. That's kind of rare. I mean, twins isn't all that common. Triplets is rare. I mean, congratulations. I didn't mean to make that sound like it was a bad thing. I just... I was shocked. That's something that's common, you know? Blew your engine at Martinsville. Well, that's tough. Oh yeah, you're on Thunder 04. That's easy to do in that game. I've been there. I think we did that. I'm pretty sure we did that on our Thunder 04 custom schedule season. Into the wall in the tunnel. Not the first time. Biffle could hope it'll be the last, but with 32 more times to go through there, I don't know if that will be the last time he hit the wall. At this point, I mean, if it stays green to the end, I don't see how Greg Biffle would lose any sort of chance of getting the lead. Or losing the lead, rather. The only wacky thing that could happen, and knowing this track, or at least the fantasy tracks on this game, especially this one, though, with how narrow it is could you imagine there being a wreck going into the tunnel again like we've seen a couple times today? But it happens on the final lap of the race, and Biffle actually has to race his way through it, and there's debris laying everywhere. Like, that is the only dangerous thing I think that could happen, but that's still a ways away, and I don't want to think about that right now, but it is a possibility. Yeah, it would be an earlier start time for that online lobby for sure. Trust me, I don't like streaming that late either. Once I left my old job, I don't think I've ever started a stream after 8:30 anymore. And if it is an 8 or 8:30 start time, it's either a truck or Xfinity race or truck or Busch race that'll get done by 10 o'clock anyway. Oh, you're in first lapping others. That's pretty common, though, in that game. "30 laps to go, this time by about a 4.2 second lead for Biffle. Biffle at one point had about a 17-second lead on the field before we had a caution during a long green flag run, which lasted from lap 19 to lap 81 before we saw our second caution of the race today when Elliott Sadler had gotten turned by Jeff Gordon. And we just kind of saw 3 cautions all within a stretch of about 15 laps of one another. And now we're on a little bit of another green flag run again. Been about 13 laps since going green from our last yellow. And he lost the points lead. Oh, that's just a double negative. Yep, just 30 laps left for the Biff. Just hoping Dale Jr.'s far enough back in the running order that he can take his points lead back. This is the first race this season Greg Biffle has not been the points leader entering, outside of course, the first race of the year when everybody didn't have any points until after the conclusion of that first race. We'll alternate through the different camera angles once again for about an 8-lap stretch. Then we'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race after that. We know how quickly cautions can breed cautions on this track already today, so all it could take is one more, and that could transpire into even more yellows after the fact. Pretty good set of corners so far for Biffle on this lap. Trying to continue to grow that lead out. Should be catching J.J. Yale again in a couple laps. If I had to guess, probably going to catch him 3 or 4 more times if it stays green to the end. And next race on our custom schedule season for the Cup Series will be at the California Speedway for a 500-mile race. And then we go to Talladega, and then the All-Star race followed by the Coca-Cola 600. We still have one more exhibition race yet this season. Coca-Cola 600 a little bit later in the year. That'll be our 3rd Crown Jewel event of the season. We've ran the Brickyard 400 and, of course, the Daytona 500 already this season. Still have that and then the Southern 500 towards the end of the year yet to go as well. Still has to take care of his car, knowing that there's a lot of laps he's still going to have to drive through turn 3. Trying to keep the left side of the car clean. That very first run of the race before he hit that hit pit road for the first time today. The left front fender was in the red because of how much damage he was getting just simply from getting into the wall in that treacherous turn 3. He's definitely gotten better with it over the second half of today's race, though. Whether it's been in traffic on restarts or with the clean air like he has right now. Well, I guess you have a 33% chance, Derek, that one of them is going to be a girl. Well, I guess... Well, yeah, I guess that would be... I guess it could, you know, all not be, but then that would be... Oh, yeah, I guess it's still possible because there's a 33% chance that, you know, that would be the case. Or no, I'm thinking... Because there's more than 3 outcomes, so it can't be 33%. Thinking back to my possible outcomes days of elementary school or middle school, whenever I first started learning that. There would be more than 3 possible outcomes, so I don't think it would be 33% chance that one would be a girl. It would probably be less than that still. But that would be of the fact that only one of them would be a girl. It would be less than a 33% chance. So maybe it is still a 33% chance that you'll get a girl, whether it's one or more than one, or if I'm thinking correctly at least. Biffle got in the wall in turn 1 getting around Bobby Labonte, but at least he passed him cleanly, and at least it was damage towards the right side of the car and not the left side. The left side is the one he's probably going to have to protect in this race. Big slide. Last race of this season is supposed to be at Talladega. So we have 2 more trips yet to Talladega. The next one is going to be a night race. 2 races from now. Middle of next week. Actually, probably good chance. Yeah, it will be middle of next week. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a cup race on Sunday with the actual race going on. I will be streaming a NASCAR video game with not being able to stream the live commentary of the race. But I'm probably only going to have time for a Busch Series race, I'd have to assume. Just a Nut, welcome to the stream. Oh, you're not last. April Fools. Yeah, I didn't feel like pulling an April Fool's joke on you guys today. I'm not one for really doing that. One of these years I'll think of something clever. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm leaving the channel. That's too ordinary. I feel like everybody does that. It'd be something outlandish. It'd be something outlandish, but I'd make it hilarious at the same time. There's been some funny ones in the NASCAR YouTube community over the last few years. One of them was today. I'm not joking about the triplets. I think you would have said you were joking by now. I don't think you would have went on with this as long as you did. I mean, you put that in the chat probably, what, 10 minutes ago or so? But was your doctor joking to you when he said it? You might not be joking with us. That'd be just cruel. I don't think they can legally do that either. I feel like they'll get sued. I thought you said she was having triplets. That was just a joke. It was April Fool's that day. Just a reminder, Greg Biffle has not won a race with Subway as the primary sponsor yet. He has been close a few times, but he hasn't been able to get the job done. You'd have to assume one of these times he will be able to get the job done. Guessing you meant to say, do I think Alex Bowman will win this Sunday? I don't have my race win prediction yet, and I still plan on doing a predictions video this weekend. It just wouldn't be live streamed. It'd be just as if I was going on the road. Only it would be in my house. It wouldn't be on the road somewhere. But there will be a predictions video that's supposed to be out on Sunday before the race. So I'll have my full in-depth predictions there, as I usually would, fantasy analysis. As far as Bowman, I think he'll have a good run this weekend. Or at least I would probably lean towards the side that he would have a good run versus not having a good run. If we got in the wall in turn 3 again. The last race of this season's at Talladega. Talladega night race and a couple races, but then another 500-mile race in the day at Talladega will be the final race of the season. So definitely don't want it to be a pretty tight points battle if you can help it. As of right now, it is a tight points battle between Greg Biffle and Dale Jr., knowing how good Dale Jr. is on the super speedways, especially in the early to mid-2000s in NASCAR. And considering how bad Greg Biffle has been on the super speedways, or at least my luck has been bad on the super speedways. Biffle was good on super speedways, for the most part. Myself, though, on the EA Sports games have not been good on the super speedways. Just a reminder, in our Busch Series race the other night at Daytona, we finished 35th. Greg Biffle needs to try to build as big of a gap as possible going into that Talladega race. Go back to the far chase cam this time around. And we'll have exactly 21 laps to go when Greg Biffle gets to the start-finish line. Laps not winding by too quickly at Speedway Boulevard tonight. A little bit of a slowdown with 3 cautions and a 15-lap stretch in the midway point in the race. Probably more towards that late second, third of the race into the early third, last third of the race today, where a lot of those cautions flew. I still don't think we're going to stay green all the way to the end. It wouldn't be the longest green flag run to the end of the race if it stayed green. It would only be about a 43-lap green flag run if it stays green, which is quite a bit. It would be the second longest green flag run of the race. Just less than a full fuel run. And everybody is good on fuel. Pitted during each of the last 2 cautions. We had restarts with less than 50 laps to go on both of them, and Biffle on green flag laps alone could probably go around 52 laps on fuel. Just hit halfway with 21 to go right now. So again, he should be good to the finish still. I'd honestly be shocked if he didn't have enough with the 2 cautions. Well, he's able to save 3 laps under the 1 yellow. He's able to save 3 laps under the most recent caution we had, and then he pitted during the caution before that. Again, we went green with 49 to go. So even if we didn't have a caution, he would have been about 3 laps to the good on fuel. We had a caution, so he's probably around 6 laps to the good, and there's no guaranteed green-white checker finish here. We will run the scheduled distance. Whether it would end under a caution or not, obviously would yet to be determined. Just depends on how many laps we have remaining when the caution flies, if the caution flies. Yeah, Michael, we pretty much, I think I've come to the conclusion that I'll put a poll in the community tab for you guys to vote on when exactly the online lobby should take place. What's best for you guys. My scheduling is just so tight this week. I really wanted to get it out this week to you guys, but I didn't realize that there was an issue with the private lobbies still. Well, not an issue with the private lobbies necessarily, but an issue with just trying to make your own lobby on NASCAR 21 Ignition, that it's still kind of an issue with it. You can't, from the sounds of it, you guys wouldn't be able to just join on my stream like you would in the NASCAR Heat online lobbies that we had on Heat 4 and Heat 5. So definitely got to get that out as soon as possible with you guys having the full notice of exactly when that's going to happen. So both in the community tab and then also in the community tab with next week's weekly streaming schedule, you also have a good idea of exactly when it'll be. It would be during the week next week, though. It wouldn't be on the weekend. With doing the live commentary Friday night for the Xfinity Series race next week and doing it Saturday night for the Xfinity race next week. Should catch JJ Yaley 2 more times. Got to catch him very soon within the next couple laps. So we caught him in turn 1 the last time, and then he caught him in the tunnel before that. We'll see where he'll catch him this time around. Definitely in the tighter area of the racetrack both times. Turn 1 wasn't as bad as the tunnel. In the tunnel, he just kind of backed out and waited to pass him until they got off the exit of turn 4, where it widened back out again. Still pulling away from second on back. It's been the case all night. Nobody's been able to make adjustments during the couple pit stops in this race that they've been able to close that gap on Greg Biffle and overall speed. And the only time Biffle was ever back in traffic, he had fresher tires than the rest of the field, was able to get back to the lead or got a timely caution, like that most recent yellow we had where Biffle already made his stop. That caution just allowed the rest of the field to be able to pit who did not pit during the third yellow of the race. They pitted all during that fourth and most recent yellow, and Biffle was able to cycle back to the lead that way, and he only had about 2 lap older tires, so we held on for a couple laps, and the tires kind of evened out from there. You can see Bobby Labonte off in the distance in the 18. The doctor pranked me. There's Labonte in turn 1. It looks like Biffle's going to catch him in more of the narrow area of the racetrack once again. Turn 2, Biffle looking high. Labonte throws a block on him. Biffle to the inside of the 18, and he's going to clear him before they get into the tunnel, so that's good. So Labonte threw a bit of a block off of turn 2, but it looked like it paid off for the 16 as he made the undercut move and passed him without really getting slowed down that much. Lost a couple tenths of his lead, and that was about it, but the rest of the field's going to have to get through Labonte in about another lap or 2 as well. Biffle will probably grow that lead back out a little bit more once again, and he'll still have to catch Bobby Labonte one more time before the end of this race. Unless we get a caution. In the middle of this run. Yeah, I honestly, because even if we did stream it tonight, it would not be a very long stream. And I wanted to give you guys a full stream because we haven't had an opportunity to play NASCAR 21 Ignition together yet collectively. The game is really bad. Obviously, you guys know that we're definitely not going to be doing too many of them. But I would like to do a few of them and haven't done one yet. So it'll be at least something different with the game we could try. I don't have very high hopes for it. But we'll try to have fun with it, what we can. Well, 15 laps to go this time by. An 8-second lead now for Greg Biffle as the rest of the field is working on Bobby Labonte. He's more towards the tunnel into turns 3 and 4. Greg Biffle trying to get his first win for Subway as a sponsor this season. I definitely think he can do it. Really, ever since Subway came on the race car for the primary sponsor for Greg Biffle, this is where the bad luck has turned, and he had at one point a 137-point lead, and in just 4 races, he lost the points lead to Dale Jr. Dale Jr.'s been on an absolute hot streak coming into this race, though. We want to talk about in real life, Ross Chastain having 4 straight podium finishes. Well, Dale Jr.'s got 5 straight podium finishes, including 4 runner-ups or better. 3 runner-ups, a third, and then a win in the last race for Dale Jr. He's led the most laps at a few of those races as well, where Greg Biffle in that stretch of races only has 2 top 10s. He hasn't finished worse than 16th in that stretch. But mediocre days are not going to cut it when you're battling for the championship. You're going to need consistent top 10s. And more than just a top 10 here today, it looks like, for Greg Biffle. Just got to know that if we get another caution, he's going to have to just nail the restart like he has all day today when he's been in the lead. It's been virtually no contest. Just has to hold on for those first few corners and hope they race hard behind him, and it allows him to pull away like it has the first few times he's been the leader coming to the green flag on a restart. 14 laps to go now at the line around this 3-mile road course. If we do have a restart with 10 or less laps to go, it'll be single file. Lap cars will not be on the inside of the lead lap cars. Now, the good news is I don't believe anybody's a lap down. And that's kind of a good thing with this being not only a narrow road course, but also a long road course. With it being so long in length, 3 miles, nobody has been a lap down in this race except for Bobby Labonte, who happens to be really slow off the pace anyway. So he's been at the rear end of the field. He pulled off the track. Last thing you want to do is be 2x2 with a bunch of narrow traffic. Those first couple corners on this racetrack. They made it through the initial start. We went 16 laps before we saw the first yellow. And we kind of knew from that point the rest of the restarts going forward were going to be single file. We would have had a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops, then it would have shaken things up maybe a little bit more and probably would have lapped more cars if it was after a long enough green flag run, but that's not really the case here. Biffle's definitely not going to be catching any lap traffic in front of him the rest of this race regardless. 13 to go. Lap times are, at least that last lap, was about 1.2 seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race. Of course, he has exactly 30 laps on his tires right now, so that definitely doesn't help. I mentioned that there was going to be a lot of tire wear today with the dirt surface, the transition from the asphalt to the dirt and back to the asphalt between turns 3 and turn 4. As well as the rumble strips and the finishing corners and the S's on this racetrack. $24 likes on the stream. Again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Winding down to the finish, and we have a caution. The one thing that we wondered if we were going to get another one today, our 5th of the race, with just 13 laps to go. It looks like J.J. Yaley just stopped on the racetrack. And when he stopped, the 103 car ran right into the back of him. And it stacked up a few more cars, and they all bottlenecked on the main straightaway. Leave it to a car. My controller's vibrating again. Almost fell on the floor. Wow. Well, here we go. Restart with less than 10 laps to go coming up. For those of you that are just coming back, you tuned in at the right time. 9 laps to go. Green flag is in the air in the Daytona Beach Street Course race. Casey Kane going to go wide. Trying to block Kurt Busch. He tried the outside in turn 2. Kane is clear off the exit of turn 2. Nobody underneath him right now. Casey had a lot better restart that time. And can he get a run on Greg Biffle? Biffle struggled in turn 3 all day today. He's trying to back the corner up a little bit more, and he's able to make it through. Kane makes it through 3 and 4 pretty well himself. They're not battling for second like they really have through most of the restarts today. And is this the final restart of the day? And can the rookie pull off the win on a driver who has absolutely obliterated the field all day long? It's going to be tough to pass on this street course the further along we get after the restart, although everybody is on older tires. And I don't believe the field will catch J.J. Yaley the rest of this race. And will we stay green to the finish, though, is the next question. 8 laps to go. We may have time for one more restart, but that's if we get a caution within the next few laps. The closer we get under 5 laps to go, the more of a chance we have of not getting this race restarted if we get a caution. And by the way, Dale Jr. had passed Kurt Busch for 3rd on the restart, so he might be in position to keep the points lead from Greg Biffle if he gets up to 2nd place. So that's a big battle going on back there if Dale Jr. can put a lot of pressure on the rookie Kane. Jr. came in 18 points ahead of Greg Biffle into this race, but Dale Jr. has not led any laps today, so no bonus points. Biffle with a max points day would end up scoring 190 points. If Dale Jr. finishes 2nd with no laps led, he'll score 170. So as long as Dale Jr. doesn't lead a lap, Greg Biffle will take the points lead with the win. Because Dale Jr. did not lead any laps today, Biffle should have a 2-point lead over Dale Jr. going into the California Speedway next week. And that will be race number 19 at California, followed by Talladega under the lights. And then the Coca-Cola 600 are the next 3 points races on this custom schedule season. The All-Star race will come before the Coke 600 as well, but that's an exhibition race. Second half of the season, though, is heating up. This race continues to heat up with 7 laps to go. It's still only a 1.3 second lead. I don't even know if Dale Jr.'s been up to 2nd place at all today. Maybe he has something. I believe there's another slow car on the racetrack. Either that or somebody's just made a mistake somewhere around the racetrack that they are losing ground from the rest of the pack. I know J.J. Yaley is the furthest car back. on the track map. He's been off the pace. I'm surprised he's still in this one after getting ran into by the 103, bringing out that last caution. So nobody's going to have any debris from that bottlenecking accident on the main straightaway. I think you meant to say flipped at Atlanta. Something few drivers have done. And virtually you are one of them. '18 Nextel Cup for the Escapes Bobby Labonte. I think I have called him JJ Haley a couple times tonight. Sorry for that. I was used to the Busch Series races the last 2 nights where the 18 was Yaley. I think somebody else mentioned JJ Yaley down in the chat earlier about something too. So I've been flipping it back and forth between Labonte and Yaley. So sorry if I keep doing that. I'm trying to catch myself in the act of saying Yaley. Trying to correct myself into saying Labonte. 5 laps to go at the start-finish line for Greg Biffle. Any caution flag from here on out to the finish could be the end of the race. Biffle is still at about a 1.3 second lead. He got out to a 1.3 second lead a couple laps ago. He hasn't really pulled away since. Can't really tell who's in second. It does look like those cars are starting to space apart a little bit more. Keegan for president. I wouldn't want that responsibility. No, thank you. I am not political whatsoever either, so I wouldn't even see myself in that manosphere. Better than the current one. I doubt I would be. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. I'd have zero clue as to what to do. I'd make the vice president do all the work for me, make me look good. That's what I'd do. Then it'll look as if I'm doing a good job when I'm not doing anything at all. Be out playing golf. Every day. Go to the NASCAR race every weekend. Wouldn't have to listen to anyone. I'm sure you still would. People will be coming through trying to pitch ideas on you all the time. I'm sure that happens. Could you imagine, like, you can imagine yourself being nervous in front of, like, in a corporate office going into the boss's room. Could you imagine going into, like, if you worked in Congress or something and you got, like, called into the president's office? You know how nerve-wracking that would probably be? Corporate boss's office is one thing. Imagine that guy ripping you to shreds. You wouldn't be able to go back on with your daily life again. It's like somebody else has just blown an engine. JJ Yaley has passed him. They have a few laps to go yet. I don't think Yaley is going to be able to make up enough time just by completing these last 3 laps to be able to pass whoever that is that just blew an engine. Biffle shouldn't catch Yaley. I think the field is going to catch this slow car with a blown engine, though. We're close enough now. If a caution comes out, the race is going to end. We're definitely not going to get this race restarted. And there is the slow car down at the bottom of the racetrack. It's the 0 of Ward Burton. And the rest of the field is going to be closing in as they enter into the rumble strips. I am not going to be shocked if we see a caution that's going to end this race. If we do, it'll be the 6th yellow of the day. I just don't see the full field getting through there. Elliott sadly got ran into the back of in the tunnel earlier when he blew an engine in front of the heavy pack of traffic. 2 laps to go. The Daytona Beach Street Course race for Greg Biffle. Broke the skill count. Yeah, it always stops at 9,999. You can't get more than that one race. I guess Ward Burton was able to get to pit road unscathed. Doesn't really look like it broke the pack apart hardly at all. Great job by Ward Burton staying out of the way, and a great job by the rest of the field not running him over while still battling aggressively for position with just 2 laps remaining. Greg Biffle still holding on to less than a 2-second lead. He didn't really widen that gap out over Dale Jr. at all either. Assuming Jr.'s in second. Either Jr. or Kane. They're both red cars, so it was kind of hard to tell out of the rear view exactly which one it was. I was in second most recently. Biffle through the rumble strip, starting to widen that lead out a little bit more again. And here they come, white flag in the air, this time by 1 lap to go on the Daytona Beach Street Course race, and it'll be 2 top 3 finishes for Greg Biffle, assuming he makes it back around to the checkered flag this time by on the 2 street course races we have had this season. I didn't think he was going to catch Bobby Labonte off this restart with about 9 laps to go, but I think he may actually catch him before they get back to the start-finish line. We'll slide into turn 3. He's going to catch him on the wider portion of the racetrack, though, if he does catch him. And about a 2.1 second lead right now with just about a handful of corners remaining on the racetrack. Heavy braking turn 6, and now into the S's, and then into the rumble strips one final time. And Greg Biffle is about to win his 3rd road course race of the season. As he closes the gap on the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Labonte did come to a stop in the middle of the front stretch earlier. Biffle's going to definitely make sure he gets around him before that. And he'll clear him with 1 more corner to go. And off the final corner, it'll be the checkered flag waving for Greg Biffle. His first road course win since back at the Talladega infield. Biffle is a winner on Daytona Beach. He can't win an oval at Daytona, but he wins the road course race at Daytona, and he wins the Daytona Beach street course race this season. Biffle is victorious at Daytona one way or another, as he wins the Speedway Boulevard 400. Dominant performance by the Biff, maybe the most dominant this entire Cup Series season. Controlled the track position most of the day, played the strategy game right with the 3-stop strategy versus pretty much everybody else taking 2 stops, and the cautions worked out perfectly. That last one probably didn't need to come out. It definitely made things interesting for about a half a lap or so, but at least Biffle was able to hold the rest of the field back and eventually go on to win this race today. We'll check out those race statistics and the top finishers 4 hours and 3 minutes to run this race tonight. Man, that was a long one. I didn't even realize that. But 5 cautions in today's race for 15 caution laps. 4 lead changes, that was it. Greg Biffle and Jimmy Johnson were the only 2 drivers to lead laps today. 120 laps led for the Biff. And I don't even know where Jimmy Johnson finished. Man, he might have blew up. Yeah, he did. Jimmy Johnson led 13 laps today. He blew an engine at lap 114. We saw Ward Burton DNF late. So Ward Burton, Jimmy Johnson, Labonte had issues, but he still finished the race. We saw Sadler wreck out twice. You can blame Jeff Gordon for maybe some of it. Terry Labonte also had engine failure, and that was it. So it looked like 4 drivers DNF'd, and then Labonte had engine issues, still finished the race in 41st. And he also finished about 28 laps down. Everybody else finished on the lead lap that did finish the race outside of Labonte. And again, we'll take a look at the top 10. Biffle with the win. Dale Jr. finishes in second. That should still give Greg Biffle the points lead, with Dale Jr. not leading the lap today and Biffle getting a max points day. So I believe, we'll check the point standings, but I believe Greg Biffle has a 2-point lead over Dale Jr., so he has taken the points lead back away from the 8 car going into California. Kurt Busch will finish in 3rd. Casey Kane fell back to 4th on that last restart after restarting in 2nd. Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 5. That's a good bounce-back performance for Harvick. He had 3 straight races where he DNF'd with an engine failure. He's glad to just make it to the end today. And actually, speaking of which, I think with Johnson blowing an engine today, that is the 3rd straight race Jimmy Johnson now has blown an engine. So first Harvick blew an engine 3 races in a row. He bounces back to the top 5, but now Jimmy Johnson has blown an engine 3 races in a row. Because he had back-to-back before that. In 2 of the 3 races, he was running in the top 5 both times. Of course, was 2nd at Indianapolis when he blew an engine there. And was running, I mean, he led 13 laps today. He was the only other driver outside of Biffle to lead. Biffle led all but 13. That was even with an extra pit stop with the strategy. The cautions played out perfectly for him to get back to the lead quickly. Ricky Rudd ends up finishing 6th, Matt Kenseth 7th, Jeff Gordon 8th, Ryan Newman 9th, and Tony Stewart rounds out the top 10 today. And we'll check the point standings, but again, I believe it's a 2-point lead for Biffle. And we get to see the Biff in victory lane as well. Biffle's the new points leader by 2 points. Man, that's tight though. Half a season. Half a season in the books, 2 points separate Greg Biffle and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And that's another runner-up for Dale Jr. That is 6 straight top 3 finishes for Dale Jr. And in the last 6 races that he has had top 3s, 5 of them are 2nd or better. 4 runner-ups, a win, and a 3rd in the last 6 races for Dale Jr. Even when we beat him, we barely gain any points or pull away on him, whether we're behind him or ahead of him. Tonight was a big instance of that. We came out 18 below him. We got a max points day and won the race, and we still come out with just a 2-point lead. That's insane. He didn't even lead a lap tonight either. Granted, he had a max points day when he won the Texas Road Course race too, the race before. Look at this. So 2 points between the top 2, but Jeff Gordon is 3rd in points, 300 back. And he had a good day today too. He had a top 10, finished 8th. Tony Stewart had a top 10, finished 10th. And they're quite a ways back. But knowing that there are still 4 more road courses and 3 more fantasy road courses, 3 more super speedway races, 2 at Talladega, 1 more at Daytona on the Oval as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Dale Jr. or Greg Biffle have some sort of a DNF the rest of the season. Biffle's had 2 of them so far. I think Dale Jr. has had 1. I would not be surprised if they DNF one more time. And if they DNF one more time, Gordon's back in it. They'll probably have to DNF 2+ times for Stewart or Kent to get back in. But it's still tight, though, between Biffle and Earnhardt Jr. This is our Lewis Hamilton versus Max Verstappen F1 season last year. This year it's Greg Biffle, versus Dale Jr. The wins, Greg Biffle has 9 wins to Dale Jr.'s 1. And also with this win, that would be career win number 10 for Greg Biffle tonight, considering that he only had 1 win in his career leading up to this 2004 season. because this was only his second season in the Cup Series, and he won his rookie year in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. So now we have 9. 9 wins this season. That makes for 10 wins in Greg Biffle's career now. So congratulations to Greg Biffle getting his 10th career win, and also his second pole of the season, first on a road course this year. I've not qualified on the pole that many times this year. And I have qualified most of the races. Very few times I've actually started from the rear in the Cup Series races. So I definitely have to get better at qualifying as we get into the second half of this season. That has probably not been a strong suit for the Biff this season. But thank you everybody for watching. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Tomorrow night's live stream will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. NASCAR Busch Series racing at Darlington. So pretty short race. Tomorrow, as soon as I get home from work, I'm literally just going to get home and we're going to stream immediately, and I'll eat dinner afterwards while watching WrestleMania Saturday night. So thank you everybody. Have a good rest of your Friday night kickoff. Hopefully it was a great kickoff to your weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening.